Imagine this. You're cruising down an empty stretch of highway. The sun's barely rising, and you've got 200 horsepower waiting under your right hand. You twist the throttle just a little, and the world suddenly goes from quiet morning calm to pure adrenaline. That feeling, that instant holy crap, this thing is a live moment. That's exactly what it's like riding a BMW S1000RR. And today, we're breaking down why this bike has become one of the most legendary superbikes on American roads. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I talk about the coolest machines on two wheels, bikes that make you want to wake up early on a Saturday just to go burn a tank of gas. And today, yeah, we're going big. We're talking about the BMW S1000RR, the bike that basically said, why don't we take superbike technology, toss in some German engineering, and create something that scares you just enough to respect it? Spoiler alert, they nailed it. Now, if you've never ridden an S1000RR, let me paint you a picture. The first time I tested one was outside Phoenix. Perfect weather, long straightaways, and a kind of smooth pavement that makes you trust your life choices. I rolled into the throttle, and honestly, I had to double check if I'd accidentally engaged warp speed. There's fast, and then there's S1000RR fast. This thing doesn't pull, it teleports. And that's because BMW didn't just want to build a superbike. They wanted to build the Superbike. Something that could dominate track days, but still be civil enough to ride to Starbucks without feeling like you're sitting on a tortured metal plank. A bike that basically says, I could destroy a racetrack, but also I can chill. It's like having a pet lion that somehow knows how to act polite at family dinner. Let's talk power for a second. Around 200 horsepower on a bike that weighs less than an average American adult? That's wild. That's like strapping a jet engine to a bicycle. Except the bicycle has a computer smarter than half the stuff in your house. The electronic suite on the RR is honestly one of the bike's biggest flexes. You get traction control, wheelie control, launch control, cornering ABS. It's like the bike knows what you're about to do before you even finish deciding. It's the perfect backup plan for those, I swear I wasn't trying to wheelie moments. One of the things American riders really appreciate is how practical the S1000RR actually is. You'd think a machine with this much power would be uncomfortable or just too much for regular roads, but it's surprisingly friendly. I know guys in California who commute on these things. Commute? Imagine sitting in traffic on something that could absolutely obliterate most cars off the line. It's like having a Ferrari, but still using it to pick up groceries at Target. But here's the thing, and if you've ever hung out with sport bike riders in the US, you know this. The S1000RR has a reputation. It doesn't matter if you're at a bike night in Miami, tearing up Tail the Dragon, or just chilling in an In-N-Out parking lot. When someone pulls up on an RR, everybody notices. This bike carries that, oh damn, he means business, energy. It's basically the motorcycle version of walking into the gym, wearing a weighted vest, and looking like you could bench press a truck. And of course, we've got to talk about the design. The early generations had that iconic asymmetric wonky eye look. People either loved it or hated it, but everyone remembered it. Then BMW switched to a sleeker, more uniform front end, and suddenly the bike went from memorable to downright mean looking. It's the kind of bike that looks fast even when it's parked. It could be sitting still in your garage, and you'd swear it's whispering, "Take me out." You know you want to. One thing I really like about the RR is that BMW doesn't treat it like a museum piece. Every few years, they update it. More tech, more refinement, more power. It's like they take all the feedback from track riders, street riders, everyday commuters, and somehow blend that into something even better. You want to geek out about aero wings? They've got them. You want customizable ride modes? Done. You want the bike to practically read your mind? They've got the software for that too. And I know some viewers watching this right now have probably had a first RR moment. You know what I'm talking about. The moment you realize this bike is on a completely different level. Maybe you test rode one at a dealership. Maybe your buddy tossed you the key and said, be careful. Maybe you saw TikToks of people accidentally wheelie-ing these things and thought, that's not going to be me. And then, well, it was almost you. A friend of mine in Texas had that moment on a long country road. He hit second gear, and the front wheel basically floated without him asking. He came back shaking like he'd just seen lightning hit right in front of him. But he was also smiling like a kid on Christmas morning, and that's the S1000RR effect. It scares you, but in the best possible way. Now, is it the perfect bike? That depends on who you ask. If you're brand new to riding, this is way too much machine. No question. You don't learn to swim by jumping into the deep end of the ocean during a storm. But if you've got experience and you want a bike that bridges the gap between everyday riding and full-on track performance, the S1000RR sits in that sweet spot. It's the bike you buy when you're ready for something special. Something that isn't just transportation, but an experience. Before I wrap this up, let me say this. Whether or not you ever own one, the BMW S1000RR deserves respect. It changed the superbike landscape. It pushed other manufacturers to level up, It gave American riders a bike that's thrilling, smart, and surprisingly usable all at once. And honestly, it's one of the few machines that feels like it was built with pure passion. Alright guys, if you enjoyed this breakdown of the legendary BMW S1000